everybody. Welcome. My name is Noelle Jordan. I'm the manager of the Brown Family Environmental Center. Even though we are here on campus, this event is sponsored by the BFEC. That's what we call it. Brown Family Environmental Center. That's a mouthful. Thanks for coming out on this perfect Ohio spring day. Yeah, we had some liquid sunshine this morning. I worked at a botanical garden before I arrived here in Ohio, and the director of horticulture called rain liquid sunshine. And he taught me how magical rain is for the plants, and so I just sort of love that. So we had some liquid sunshine this morning. Let's see, I just have a few announcements before we get started. Let's start with cell phones. If you have your cell phone, let's put it on silent. And Kenyon is celebrating our bicentennial at a time when some small colleges and universities are sadly closing their doors. Kenyon is 200 years strong, and we're very proud of that. We will be celebrating the entire calendar year, and so hopefully you'll be able to celebrate with us during the year. I'm excited to announce that the Brown Family Environmental Center will now be managing 700 acres. The Philander Chase, thank you. Yes, we're only a little daunted, but very excited. The Philander Chase Conservancy recently purchased a parcel that will connect the BFEC property to the Wolf Run Regional Park. And that green corridor will create over 1,100 acres of green space. Once we have all of our trails in, there will be a little over 20 miles of trails right in the middle of Knox County. So we are very, very excited about that and hope that you will come enjoy that. We ask for your safety not to go out to the property until it's officially open to the public, which will happen probably about this time next year. So be patient. There will be a roundabout going in at the intersection of 229 Lehman Road, which is how some of y'all hopefully usually get to the BFEC, or turning left onto Wigan, or turning onto Wigan Street to come up here to campus. You might have noticed that there are already trees cut down there, so they're already starting the preparation for that. That intersection will be closed beginning May 28th through November 15th. So if you have not yet found an alternative way, an alternate route, you might want to pull out your maps and start thinking about that. So now I am very pleased to introduce the wonderful folks who are going to provide a very informative and what I know will be an inspirational concert. JD, come on up here, JD. You've got to stand up while I introduce you. JD Stillwater is a graduate of Cornell University and is a science ambassador and author who writes and speaks about profound insights from natural reality, insights that drive paradigm shifts and cultural awakening. This work springs from JD's love of science and his gift for making difficult concepts accessible for the non-scientist. After 24 years of teaching science and math in the secondary classrooms, JD now shares the awe, wonder, and spiritual depth he experiences in what is being revealed by the global science community. So let's welcome JD. And our own Sarah Goslee Reed. Sarah grew up with the classical music of her parents and a love of the folk music of the 60s and the Beatles, of course. Based on her knowledge of the violin, she taught herself how to play the guitar and learned songs by listening to records. A professional microbiologist, songwriting, singing, and all things natural are her passions. Sarah has worked with children, conducting songwriting workshops in schools, performing, and working with special needs campers at Camp New Hop. Sarah's newest CD, The Healing, is preceded by 10 others. So let's welcome Sarah. And I think they want us to participate every once in a while, so I don't want you to sit back and get too comfortable, right? Because we need to play our own part in this. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Noelle. So to get us all warmed up here. Yeah, you're trying to make sure that that little thingy works. It does. So yes, we're going to start off. You can't have a folk concert or any concert, in my estimation, without something that you can all sing along to. And I bet you know the song. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, and the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of fertile deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you
That was nice. You may have detected that we did not rehearse all of this. Does it feel to you, wow, that is awfully loud. Hold on, let me turn this down. It gets all the way down. How's that? A little better. Does it feel to you like Earth Day celebrations have an air of desperation lately? Yes? No? Yeah, I certainly feel that. The planet is heating up. Have you seen this graphic before? These are called the climate stripes. There's one stripe for each year, and each stripe is colored compared to the average over that period, 1850 to 2021. Look at this. Very scary. We know that extinctions are accelerating. This is a list of the extinctions of vertebrates just in North America, just on this continent. This is Wikipedia's list, and it goes on and on and on. If I let it roll, we would just be watching this all day long. So many species going extinct. Our overconsumption is certainly a factor of all this. Not only each of us, but the total, humanity's total consumption. The human population is out of control at the moment. Notice the correlation between species extinction and total human population. They track right next to each other, so there's a problem there. We have increasing wars around the world, especially just in the last year or two. And there's always a threat of nuclear war because we haven't addressed nuclear proliferation. Pollution, all kinds of pollution continue to accelerate. We have ecosystems collapsing, insect populations plummeting. None of these things is getting better currently. Almost all of them are getting worse. So, some people are in denial about all this. Some people just give up. But we know the situation is pretty dire. And these comics are a couple of years old now, but I think they're still apt, right? We haven't really solved this. We haven't addressed it in a way that's lasting. What's your take on all this? Where are you with our relationship with the environment currently? How are you feeling about these things? Anybody? Ashamed. Any others?
Scared.
Scared? Scary? It's frightening?
Worried about the future.
Worried about the future. Certainly, yeah.
Trying to be hopeful.
Trying to be hopeful. Yeah, that word hope is, I'm hearing it a lot lately. Well, we know something has to change, and it seems like it should be simple, right? If it's getting too hot on this planet, stop burning stuff. That shouldn't be that hard. But I think we're kind of caught. We're stuck in an ecocidal global economic system. And there's this huge tangle of intersecting problems that we are complicit in, each of us, and as a society. In a sense, I would say that we're a little bit like addicts. We know that we're causing harm to ourselves and to the earth, and yet we can't seem to stop doing it. We can't really get out of these behaviors. And just for one example, I drove here yesterday from Pennsylvania, and I had to burn a bunch of gasoline to do that. So how easy is it to just stop burning stuff? When I know that my behavior is harming myself and others, and yet I can't seem to stop doing it, that is a moral crisis. It's like being an addict. An alcoholic knows, they see the harm that their behavior is causing to themselves and the others around them, but they can't quite stop doing it. It's a moral crisis. Do you feel that? You experience some of that angst yourself? Environmental degradation is a moral crisis, and we are at the center of it, both as individuals and as a society. Raise your hand if life feels a little chaotic lately, maybe even a little bit insane. Anyone? Yeah, quite a few of us. This is not good for us. Has anyone experienced a situation where maybe you're just sitting on your front porch or you're going for a walk in your neighborhood or something, and just as you're starting to enjoy the peace and quiet, somebody starts up a motorcycle or a leaf blower or the mower next door. Yeah, I'm seeing some nodding heads. We have experienced this. Peace and quiet is kind of hard to come by these days. So the way we live with each other and with the earth is bad for the earth, bad for ourselves, and bad for future generations. I go for a walk around 7 o'clock every weekday morning. And lately, especially in the spring now, the bird song has just been wonderful. And I went to record it with my phone, and it sounded great until I played it back. And what I figured out is that there's this constant background noise of distant traffic that I can't see. But on the recording, it's even louder than the bird song. I've learned to tune it out. So some stillness, a little bit of quiet, maybe 1 square inch of silence might be really nice once in a while. It might be healing. And it just so happens that Sarah has a song called 1 Square Inch of Silence.
So there is a man named Gordon Hempton, and he travels around the country making recordings of places where you don't hear all the traffic going by, where it's very quiet. And there is a place documented in the Hoh rainforest down in the state of Washington that is called 1 Square Inch of Silence. And there is a little stone, a little red marker, and there actually, I believe, there's a little sign that says, shh, so people don't talk, But in this particular place, you cannot hear cars or airplanes, jets, anything going over. It's sort of like the auditory version of Dark Skies. So, I even before I knew about this, I felt this way. And once I found out about it, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Furnace clicks, airplane thrums, overhead Dog barks, baby cries. Fridge and washer chime in their reply. Swish, buzz, ding, computer phone. How I long to be alone in one square inch of silence. The smell of earth is on the breeze, where the still and quiet covers me, green and mossy blanket on the trees. One square inch of a small red stone, the ancients guard, where I put my quiet thoughts in a jar. Make a wish for room to breathe, air, sky, water, and trees. One square inch of silence, the smell of earth is on the breeze, where the still and quiet covers me, green and mossy blanket on the trees. One square inch of peace, one square inch of silence. The smell of earth is on the breeze, where the still and quiet covers me, green and mossy blanket on the trees. One square inch of peace.
Play with me for a second and just call to mind someone who lived long ago and far away. Someone who lived long ago and far away. Everybody got someone in mind? All right, now, take a deep breath with me. You just breathed in 13 sextillion air molecules. 700 million of those that just came into your lungs were also at some point inside the lungs of the person you were thinking of, no matter who they were. Everyone who ever lived, every animal that ever lived, in a way, in the molecules, is right here in the atmosphere of this room with us. Air and water molecules are so small and so numerous, and they cycle around the earth so constantly that every single breath of air we take and every sip of water that we drink contains molecules that were once inside the bodies of every creature that ever lived. We can't separate ourselves from these natural cycles. We are in them, and they are in us. Now, in classrooms, we learn about these natural cycles as though they were separate from us, as though they're out there somewhere, and we're just learning about them as distant observers. But we are embedded in them, and they are embedded in us. We are part of these ecosystems, not only the ones around us, but ones on the other side of the planet from us. We are them in human form. We're not just interconnected with the rest of the earth, we're interdependent. I would say we are interbeing with them. We're part of this greater whole, almost like the trillions of cells in my body are part of this greater whole that I call myself. I missed a slide somewhere in there. We're part of it. They're all part of it together. I want to tell you a story that comes from India. It's a true story. I am slide ahead, sorry. How does this happen over and over again? I want you to be watching this beautiful murmuration while I tell this story. It was documented by Umer Haq, I think is how you pronounce his name. And he tells of a little girl growing up in India. It's not. All right, we're just going to let it go. Because I want you to pay attention to this story. This little girl's 5 years old. She's growing up in India. She's bright and curious and intelligent. And one day in 2022, this is only 2 years ago, she asked her mother a question. She said, "Mommy, where's the monster?" And at first her mom just dismissed it. You know, kids will be kids. They ask all kinds of crazy questions. But this little girl kept asking. There was something she didn't understand. Something was wrong. And she wanted an explanation. Again and again. "Mommy, where's the monster?" And this went on for a whole week. And finally, wondering if something was really wrong with her daughter, the mother said, in a combination of exasperation and concern, "Darling, there's no monster. Monsters aren't real. You know that. What makes you think there's a monster? What monster?" "The monster that's killing all the birds, Mommy." For weeks, there had been a heat wave. This is 2022 in India, with temperatures reaching 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 Fahrenheit. In March, in India. And birds were just falling from the skies dead. The little girl had drawn the only conclusion she could. There was a monster making birds fall dead from the sky, leaving them just littering the streets and balconies and roofs of the city. This is what's happening in our time. Have you ever played Jenga? Anybody? Raise your hand. Yes? Yeah? That's a pretty common, fun game. Well, an ecosystem is like a Jenga stack. And just like in Jenga, you can lose some members. You can pull some blocks out of an ecosystem here and there. But if you keep removing them, at some point, it all comes crashing down. Unlike Jenga, humans are not separate from Earth's ecosystems. We're just one of the blocks in the stack. Somewhere in the middle of the stack, not the top. So when it all comes crashing down, we crash too. And as you might have guessed, Sarah has a song related to that.
I'm so involved.
All living things are in that stack.
So I'm sure you remember the book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Well, this song sort of is, to me, is like a song version of that, but it's about what we need as living beings to live. And it was written by first graders way back many years ago at Dan Emmett Elementary with the help of their music teacher, Laura Ackers. You might know Laura. She's a wonderful music teacher. And it's a sort of a sing-along, so the chorus is the part you can sing on, and you'll get it right away. What do we need? All living things. Let's try that with me. What do we need? All living things. Let me do 2 lines again. What do we need? All living things. What do we need? All living things. We need air with oxygen that comes from the trees on the way. You can't hold it in your hand and fall on your face. It's everywhere. Outer space. waters all around. What do we need? All of the things. What do we need? All of the things. We need shelter from too much sun, ice and snow will make you numb. Oh, where it's safe, might be in the sea, a den or a cave, your house or in a tree. What do we need? All of the things. What do we need? All of the things. All of the things. What do we need? All of the things.
So we're in crisis. But crisis brings opportunity. A mentor of mine once said, and this is many years ago now, when we were having a crisis, he said, never let a perfectly good crisis go to waste. I was like, what? But I have come to cherish that. You know, we are only here on this planet because the extinction of the dinosaurs allowed our little mammalian ancestors to flourish. Another example, Hawaii is a lush rainforest. Why? You know this is a volcanic environment. Lava's coming out of these islands frequently. How can there be such lush rainforest there? Well, the reason is because lava breaks down very quickly, much quicker than many other kinds of rock. And when it does so, it makes soil that's really rich with trace minerals, perfect growing environment for plants. So as soon as the lava cools down enough for anything to live near it, life moves in. And believe it or not, Sarah has a song about exactly that.
You make it sound so funny. Yeah, I go around writing weird songs about lava. And who knows what else. I don't know. This song has the word caldera in it, and I used to sing with a guy here from Mount Vernon who was just amazed at the fact that I managed to work the word caldera into a song. But the song comes from a visit that we made many years ago to Yellowstone National Park. And we were there many years after there had been I forget what year the big wildfire was out there. There's been many, but
1988.
thank you. Okie doke. Yeah, and we were driving around, and there were just like dead trees, charred, still. Yet stuff is coming up. Stuff comes back, just like after Mount St. Helens. You know, things grow back. I learned, though, which was a fact that was amazing to me, that it was 631,000 years ago that the volcano erupted, and it was felt as far away as the state of Texas, and affected the ground and the land there. And still, that what's left at Yellowstone, the caldera, is still on fire. And you know, there are parts of the little rivers where you can see steam coming up, and you obviously do not go wading in those beautiful copper blue pools. So anyway, this was, and then there's a song, there's a place place called Paradise Valley, just north. And then as we were driving around, we saw a little sign for a town called Pray, and that was how the song came about.
So was it E or an A?
A,
Okay.
P-R-A-Y. Yeah, not E, A. Yeah. So okay, it's called the Valley of Paradise.
I've come to believe that the problems we're facing are much deeper than just our behavior. And I think it has to do with how we see ourselves in the world. It has to do with our worldview, sort of the operating system that our culture hands us as children. You know, compared with indigenous cultures that were sustainable for thousands of years, our culture emphasizes separation, ownership, short-term thinking, individualism, things, linearity, linear logic. And that list is literally unnatural. What science is revealing today about how the universe actually works is founded on the patterns over on the right. Talking about kinship, cooperation, deep time change, integration and interbeing, and circularity, circular economies. So what might a modern day worldview look like if it was based on those patterns? Or I should probably call them acknowledgments. This is how the universe works. What if we aligned our worldview with those over on the right? So that instead of constantly fighting with natural processes, what if we worked with them? If we aligned our thinking and our behavior with them? And if we manage to make that transition, how will we treat each other during the difficult transition from our current worldview to one that's better aligned, one that's more sustainable, more relational? I'm going to let Sarah's next song answer those questions. Walk with the Wind.
John Lewis, the congressman from Georgia, was a civil rights worker who was very much involved for years and years and years before he became a congressman in all the civil rights actions in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. He was in jail probably more times than I could even count, and assaulted many times, and still maintained that there was good in the world. And his mother always told him when he went anywhere, she would always say, "Now, John, don't get into trouble." And his answer to her would be nothing but good trouble. So he has a book called Walking with the Wind, and he tells the story in the very beginning of the book of he and about 14 of his cousins were playing at an aunt's house, and it was out in it was a little shack where they lived, and they were outside, and a big storm was coming in, so his aunt called them all in, and this little structure, their house, started to lift up because this huge storm was coming, and so the aunt said, "Okay, everybody hold hands and get in a line," and so when the house started to lift up, over on that side, they would all walk to that side of the house to hold it down. And then they would turn around and walk wherever the house was raising up. They would walk, she said, walk with the wind. So as I read the book, I jotted down a million notes and came up with this song. It's called Walk with the Wind. Walk with the wind, children, walk with the wind. When the storm is rumbling across this land, join your hands together and begin. Walk with the wind, oh children. When darkness comes and you're afraid, feel like running away. Find another's hand, hold it tight. Lift your face to the light. Walk with the wind, children, walk with the wind. When the storm is rumbling across this land, join your hands together. And begin. Walk with the wind, oh much as a human hand. Walk with the children, walk with the wind. When the storm is rolling across this land, join your hands together and begin. Walk with the wind, oh, children. When the floor shifts under your feet, your house is drifting in the street. Nothing comes but good troubled way. You take the hand of a friend. Walk with the wind, children, walk with the wind. When the storm is rolling across this land, join your hands together and walk with the wind, oh, children. Have compassion, willful stubbornness, patient and persist. Let your pilot light forever burn. Don't leave this earth without doing your turn. Walk the wind, children, walk with the wind. When the storm is rolling across this land, join your hands together and begin. Walk with the wind, oh, children. Walk with the wind, oh, children.
Any science majors in here? Raise your hand. A few. Does anybody know how atoms get made? Atoms have not always existed, contrary to what your high school chemistry teacher might have told you. Well, the early universe had no atoms, only quarks. It took 147,000 years for the universe to make the first atoms as the universe cooled after the Big Bang. And then, even then, we only had atoms of hydrogen, a few of helium, but mostly hydrogen, which is the simplest and lightest element. So where did all this stuff come from? Well, at extremely high temperatures, oh, sorry, I got one behind. At extremely high temperatures, like in our sun, in the cores of stars, atoms, simple atoms like hydrogen, can crash into each other at high enough speeds that they smash and stick together. That's a process called fusion, and I'm simplifying it a little bit here. And it can keep smashing them together, bigger and bigger atoms building from hydrogen, up to an atom of hydrogen, a nucleus of hydrogen to be technically correct. And stars like our sun can only make atoms as big as iron. There's another whole process involving supernovas that make bigger things than that. But I'm focusing on iron here. And I want to play a short clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson to help explain why that matters for us personally. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
I know that the molecules in my body are traceable to phenomena in the cosmos. And it's our 15 pounds of gray matter that figured this out. There's a kinship with the cosmos that resonates deeply with New Age thinking, but I'm not apologetic about that. It's what we find. If whatever we find resonates with whoever, go ahead, take it. And when I reflect on our kinship with the cosmos, when I do the calculation that shows that a 15-ton meteorite that we have in the center of the Roe Center for Earth and Space, it's an iron meteorite. When I do the calculation, that shows that if you take all of the iron from the hemoglobin of the people in the tri-state area of New York City, you can recover that much iron out of their blood. And realize that the iron from that meteorite and the iron from your blood has common origin in the core of a star. Tell me what part of my brain is lighting up, because that excites me. That makes me want to grab people in the street and say, have you heard this?
So when you eat breakfast cereal that's fortified with iron, you're eating star stuff. You're eating stuff that was made in a star. And once it's inside you, it becomes alive as you. Because you're alive, right? So the stuff inside you is alive. And it's not just iron. Every element, every atom, except hydrogen and helium, was forged in the cores of stars. And I'm focusing on iron here because Sarah's next song does. But all of this applies to everything, all this stuff. Atoms, it'll be a minute, Sarah. You don't have to get up quite yet.
I'm getting excited.
Atoms have life stories of their own. Long, ancient stories with chapters that include being stars, being mountains, being oceans, anything and everything you can imagine that's made of atoms, including being you now for a very brief time that we call your life or my life. And I want to read just an excerpt from a longer poem I wrote titled An Atom's Life. If carbon could choose, would it be a diamond or a daughter? There are entire planets of solid diamond. They do not smell like macaroni or squeal with laughter, swinging between strong hands, strolling through gentle breezes. They cannot cuddle under downy quilts for communion, cannot dance under hot, pregnant skies, their breath and sweat mingling into iron-rich ancestral soils. If iron could choose, there would be no asteroids. They would fall in swarms, rusty storms of shooting stars, each atom straining with aspiration to become blood-red hemoglobin, light-loving retinol, muscular myoglobin of living motion, each coveting a chance to live, to bleed, to see the stars, and to reach for them in person. Atoms can't choose, but we can. And what we do with Earth's atoms will reverberate through the cosmos forever, like ripples on a pond or the sound of a bell.
There's a book called A Gentleman in Moscow, and I just found out today it is now going to be a TV show on Paramount. But regardless, I've read this book twice, and now finding out it's going to be on TV, I want to read it a third time because there's a lot of it. You forget how good, even if it's really good, you still forget. But there was a line in this book about, where's the quote? From bells to cannons and back again, such, until the end of time, such is the fate of iron ore. And that stuck with me for a very long time. In fact, I keep little notebooks, and I found it written down 2 or 3 times in different notebooks. So obviously it meant something. And it became this song called The Fate of Iron Ore. Bells ring bright at sunrise, lighting all to church. The distant rumble of the guns, echoing men's dirty words.
So, story goes, this man was driving on a narrow, curvy road like this one. And sports car comes around the bend really, really fast, tires screeching. And this car almost hits him because it's a narrow road and it's really curvy. And as she goes past him, she yells, "Pig!" And the man is like, "Oh, what?" He's indignant and he's offended. So he, out of road rage, he yells back, "Sow!" And then he accelerates around the curve and smack into a large pig standing in the middle of the road. Right? How we see the world depends on our internal frameworks. If we change our worldview, the world we experience changes. The old framework, the one that's killing the earth, sees each of us as separate individuals in competition with one another to dominate our surroundings. That view is at odds with reality, which is interconnected and interdependent at every level and scale. We can stop thinking of our surroundings as resources, as raw materials, and we can begin to think of them as kin, as relatives. The iron, the ocean, the oil, the trees and insects, they are in Earth's cycles with us as interdependent parts of a single being, Earth. We have glimpses of this ancient worldview that feel new to us. The worldview feels new to us, but we're in the transition time. So I find myself going back and forth. I want to be more consistent in choosing alignment and compassion and humility over domination and security and individuality. But it's an internal process of growth and discernment. Productivity or family, comfort and convenience or caring for future generations. In the words of Sarah's next song, we can each choose to feed the right wolf. We can each choose how to strike that balance.
Grandfather, I am afraid
That really did not look all that mean and dark.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Some people have taken to describing humanity as some kind of cancer in the body of Earth. This rapacious, greedy growth that hoards and wastes resources, leaving pain and devastation everywhere it goes. Well, I guess it's an apt analogy, except that it's not humanity that's the problem. Yeah, I love this. Indigenous human beings have lived on this earth for tens of thousands of years, mostly sustainably. Some are even today. So it's not our humanity that makes us cancerous. It's our worldview. It's our culture, our values, it's the way we perceive ourselves in the world. Modern genetics tells us there's only one family of living things on this planet. Every living thing is a distant cousin of yours. That's my favorite cousin. She doesn't come around very often. Native Americans didn't need modern genetics to know this. But, like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, whatever it takes, we know now. That's the thing. Science is now doing what our religions have failed to do. The word religion comes from Latin. It means to reconnect, to bind us together again with each other and with creation. Healing the earth starts, I think, with healing ourselves of this mental illness of separation and domination. Separation from the family of life, and separation from our own ancestors and descendants. How are we going to heal from this? Sarah has a song.
They're getting tired of hearing you say that.
I'm trying to mix it up a little bit this time.
So right now, if you take a walk around, you see the willows. Getting yellow and fuzzy, and then they get green, which is it's the beginning of the beauty of spring happening. Feels like it's February, so long ago. I could swear I hear the very voice I used to know. The ritual I go through year after year, the only thing I know to do. With a shovel in my hand, without a sound, opening the earth, I plant a seed in this hallowed ground. Dust turned to mud, cold winter rain. I don't know how to stop the flood. Pushing back the water with my hands, holding on to all I have in my command, waiting for the willow and its greening, waiting for the healing. Every season signals change that never comes.
Cool thing is, we don't have to do this alone. Humans are a social species. Cooperation is our superpower. Evolution is not all competition, in spite of what your high school biology teacher might have said. Competition is half the story. The other half is cooperation. The earliest life was single-celled, and then it became multicellular because those single cells began to cooperate with one another. They clumped, and then they found ways to help each other out. And then some of those multicellular creatures, not these specific ones, but over time, they began to cooperate together in societies. Bees are a good example. Many species now have sociality, it's called. And humans are especially good at this. We're especially good at cooperating. There's also interspecies cooperation, sometimes called mutualism, and other kinds of symbiosis. You may have heard about fungal empires in the soil. When you walk through a forest, you're actually walking through a neighborhood. There are fungal rhizomes connecting the roots of all these trees. And they do the plant and fungal equivalent of borrowing a cup of sugar. The plants, the trees supply carbohydrates to the fungi, and the fungi carry messages between the trees and that sort of thing. So a forest is a village, it's a neighborhood where the neighbors cooperate just as much as they compete with one another. Here again, we live among relatives, not resources. If we can expand the scope of our cooperation to include whole ecosystems, that by itself would represent a sea change in our worldview. When we view nature as part of our community, better choices are just going to follow naturally from that. If we keep doing what we did, we're going to keep getting what we got. That's the title of a song.
Gee. So Margaret Mead has a theory that a broken femur that has healed is a sign of civilization, because if you have broken that giant bone in your leg, you have to have somebody help you. So an animal, for instance, cannot get along without help. So this, if you do what you did, you're going to get what you got. Was the yoga prompt one day in my yoga class, which I got carried away. If you do what you did, you're gonna get what you got. If you do what you did, you're gonna get what you got. Right or rest in helping someone and hear a smile. So if you do something
Anybody have children in here? Raise your hand. Yeah, lots of them. Lots of us, anyway. So I have some questions for you. Would you fight with a rabid dog to save your child? I'm seeing a lot of nods. Yeah, me too. Would you take a bullet for them? More nods. Enter a burning building. That's not a burning building. There it is. Enter a burning building? Yeah, okay. Any child? What if it wasn't your child? Would you do those things for any child that was in danger? I'm still seeing nods. Yeah, I think most of us would. What about grandchildren? Yeah. What about great-grandchildren? What I'm getting at here is, does your love and protectiveness for children diminish with each generation going forward? I'm thinking not, right? This is my mom with her great-grandchildren. And so if you knew it would save a child's life, would you lower your thermostat? Would you line dry your clothes? Would you, I see there's a few college students here, would you accept a lower salary in a more sustainable industry? Would you drive less and walk or bike more? Would you eat less meat? What would you do for the grandchildren? And here I'm talking about all the grandchildren. There are children who will be born after all of us in this room are long gone. And I promise you, they are as lovable and worth saving as the children you already know and love. And their house is on fire now. And they're trapped inside it. How will they know that we love them? How will they know that we love them? One thing we can do is plant some trees. It's a small thing, but it's something. And those trees will be there when those kids are here.
This song was a poem written in honor of Russ Ramser, who established the Ramser Arboretum many years ago. And I set it to music. Susan asked me if I would do that. Lo and behold, miracles happen. And this is a sing-along, so your part goes like this. We planted trees today over Shadley Valley Way. We planted trees today. It's nice and bold. Try it. We planted trees today over Shadley Valley Way. Those trees now firmly planted in the soil. One day
beautiful. We can do this. We can do this. What we know about how reality works can help serve as a guide. Interconnectedness, cooperation, kinship, creativity, simplicity, alignment. We can do this. If we make it, it's not going to be some kind of utopia. This is we're talking about human beings here. Human societies are never utopian. But I hope, I believe, I trust there will be songs, both from humans and from our avian cousins. I hear the birds.
I hear the birds singing, it's morning light. They're bringing across the sky, through the blue to my window. I hear the birds. Phoebe calls, again I hear her from the line. She is nearer, last year's nest is beckoning at my back door. Phoebe calls. Morning dove cries a warning of heat to come. After the morning, later on, she'll cool again before the owl. Morning dove. Daylight's pulled in each direction like a piece of soft confection. Spring is sweet like the song of the birds as day grows long. I hear the birds singing, it's morning light. They're bringing across the sky, through the blue to my window. I hear the birds.
I want to thank everybody for being here today, and thanks to Noelle. Oh, I didn't turn my. Try that again. Thanks for being. Yeah, it's not even. Check.
There it is.
I'm grateful to Noelle for setting this
Oh
up,
my gosh,
and
yes.
to Sarah for playing.
And to JD for everything. And his wonderful accompaniment, which just makes everything so much more fun. And thank you all for coming.
Do we have time for comments, questions, thoughts? No one else says yes?
Desire.
Any responses? Good. I'm glad. Peaceful.
Oh, that's nice.
She feels peaceful.
I feel like more people should get to see this. You all should make a TikTok. It's really
Well, that's a really nice thing to say. That's a cool thought.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
Maybe we can work. How do you do that anyway? We have to talk about this.
It's different in every city.
You have to talk to Ted.
You have to-
Oh, that's it? I
You
do.
have to be a friend of Ted. Yeah.
I have to find somebody named Ted somewhere.
Is there a Ted in the house?
There's, Sarah has CDs on the table over here, and I have. I know that the
Wonderful
college
books.
is giving out eclipse glasses, but if you
yeah.
didn't get any and still need some, I have some. And both of us have sign-ups for our mailing list if you want to know when she's playing or when I'm speaking. I think that's it. Oh, there's some children's books. My children's book is over there as well.
And if you sign up for his email, I mean, when I send an email out, I just go, blah, 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 you know, and then there you go. When you get one from JD, you have to make sure you have a nice cup of tea and a comfy space to sit, and then prepare for just a wow moment. You know, it takes some. There's a lot of stuff in his. It's not just a oh, hello kind of thing. It's wonderful. It's educational. It's fun. It's great reading, and you'll just learn a lot. It's really exciting to get his email. So sign up.
If you don't and you don't like it, you can unsubscribe easily. So, all right, thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to ask one question about how you linked up with the music. Were you a percussionist before? Did you not practice together? How did you match so beautifully without?
I felt like I wasn't matching very well today.
Oh yeah, you were. Oh yeah.
I am a percussionist. I've been playing drums for 45 years. And,
it's in your blood.
yeah.
He
And
is
Sarah's so fun to play along with.
He's very perceptive. He's like, you know, part of the whole. It's like the song is a living being, and he just breathes it in. And you know, I don't know, because we don't really practice. He lives in Pennsylvania, so it's a long drive. You know, he's got some recordings to listen to, but I don't really do them the way they're done. And
Yeah, that came out. If you noticed, some of the videos ended early or kept going after song. I timed them for her recording.
That's because I forgot the words, you know, or I had an extra line in there. I mean, you know, these things happen.
So if we take this on the road or do a TED Talk or something, we'll line it up better.
We'll practice at least once.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.